Jazzcast Pros.
Hey dreamers, if you've been keeping up with my episodes, you know that in the last few weeks, I've talked about sleeping pills, when it's best to use them and what they aren't for, as well as the misuse and overuse of melatonin as a sleep aid. Now today, we're going to be talking about something that's been on my mind for a while, and that's the potential risks of taking sleep supplements without proper guidance. You know, with the growing popularity of supplements and the promise of quick fixes, it's easy to see why so many of you are turning to pills to solve your sleep problems and to boost your health. But as we'll discuss today, this approach can do more harm than good if you're not careful. So in this episode, we'll explore when you should consider using a sleep supplement, how long you should use them, the potential risks involved, and some effective alternatives that can help you get better sleep without relying on a pill. Plus, I'll share how working with a sleep coach can be a game changer in getting your sleep health back on track. So let's dive in. Welcome back to the Doze Podcast. I'm your host, Soda Kuczkowski, and I'm really glad that you're here for another important conversation. Over the past couple weeks, as I mentioned, I've talked about sleeping pills and melatonin, what they can do for you and what you should watch out for. And if you've been following along, you know that these are complex topics with a lot of layers, but there are questions that impact a lot of us, especially in communities where health issues are often overlooked or misunderstood. So today, we're going to take that conversation further by talking about sleep supplements in general. With so many options on the market, it can be overwhelming to figure out which, if any, might be right for you. But before you reach for that next bottle of pills, we need to talk about the potential risks of taking supplements without that proper guidance, especially if you're dealing with other health challenges that are more common in minority communities like diabetes, hypertension, and anxiety, on top of the sleep challenges that you're experiencing. So it's tempting to seek out a quick solution. But as we'll explore, this can often lead to more harm than good if not approached with caution. You know, by being equipped with the right information, you can make educated decisions that can truly benefit your sleep and health in the long run. Now, sleep supplements have become increasingly popular as they are seen as quick fixes to improve your sleep. But as you'll learn today, it isn't quite that simple. You know, some of the most common ones you'll hear about are things like melatonin, Valerian Root, GABA, Magnesium, even CBD. At least these are the ingredients of a lot of the sleep aids that you'll find at your local pharmacy or Target or Walmart. But each of these supplements works in a different way. You know, for example, melatonin is a hormone that helps regulate your sleep-wake cycle, while Valerian Root is an herb known for its calming effects. But just because these supplements are available over the counter doesn't mean that they're suitable for everyone. You know, factors like age, your existing health conditions, and any medications you're taking can all impact how a supplement interacts with your body. Also, you may notice when reading the package that many are lumped together, although they serve very different purposes. So then, when should you actually use sleep supplements, and how do you know what will work? Well, in general, they're recommended for short-term use. For instance, they can be really helpful when you're adjusting to a new time zone or dealing with temporary stress. But it's crucial to remember that these supplements should not become a long-term solution. You know, over time, chronic use can lead to dependency or reduce their effectiveness. Typically, you know, between a period of 2 to 4 weeks is advised, but this can vary depending on the specific supplement and your individual needs. And if you find yourself reaching for a sleep supplement every single night, it's probably time to reassess your sleep habits and to seek professional guidance. Because relying too much on supplements can sometimes mask underlying sleep disorders that require proper treatment. Like anything you put in your body, sleep supplements come with potential risks. You know, some can cause side effects like grogginess, headaches, or digestive issues. For example, melatonin, if used improperly, can interfere with your natural hormone levels. It's also essential to check with your healthcare provider to ensure that any sleep supplement you're considering doesn't interact negatively with other medications you might be taking, especially if you have chronic health conditions. And remember, not all supplements are created equal. You want to look for high-quality, reputable brands that have been third-party tested for purity and potency. You want to avoid those unnecessary additives or fillers that could do more harm than good. You know, it makes me crazy to see when sugar is added because that's often seen in sleep gummies and it could be adding to your sleep issues. Now, I can't emphasize this enough, but before you even consider turning to sleep supplements, it's important to take a close look at your sleep hygiene. This includes creating a consistent sleep schedule, optimizing your sleep environment, and reducing exposure to screens before bed. These simple steps can often make a big difference. Mindfulness and relaxation techniques like deep breathing, progressive muscle relaxation, and meditation can also help to reduce stress and to prepare your body for sleep without the needs for supplements. Additionally, making lifestyle adjustments such as maintaining a balanced diet through activities like yoga or journaling. But if you do decide that you could benefit from a sleep supplement, I don't want you to go in blindly, so there are some things to consider. Now, you may say to yourself, well, Soda, the TV commercials, they say it'll help me, or maybe one has worked for a friend, or worst of all, maybe a healthcare provider has told you that there's no harm in trying it. But I'm here to tell you that most, if not the majority, have very little formal education in nutrition, let alone specific education on sleep or which sleep supplements to best utilize. So they should not be your only trusted source, as they could be leading you blindly. You want to take direction from a sleep specialist or someone who is training in sleep health specifically, whether that be a sleep coach, a nutritionist, a functional doctor. They just need to have that experience to speak and direct you in the conversation. I remember even when I first worked at the sleep lab, buying melatonin myself after hearing many a doctor or nurse recommend it to their patients before I really understood what it was and the harm it could cause. It was through education and then advocating for patients that those under the care of the lab I represented saw an improvement in their sleep, either by a diagnosis of a sleep disorder or by really understanding the root causes of what was creating their sleep challenges to begin with. And that's why, if you suspect something more serious, you should get a sleep study. It's easy now to do them at home to rule out if it is something more serious. And B, get help from the right sleep professional. There are different types, and I'll drop a link to the episode in the show notes where I break down each of these types of professions for you. So before you even consider turning to supplements, it's important to really take a closer look at your sleep hygiene. And that's those practices and habits around sleep to see what you could be doing differently before heading to the store and looking for an unclear solution that ends up being more smoke and mirrors to a larger issue. I say this because when going down the route of taking supplements without guidance, you can run into things like risk of overdose and toxicity. Taking high dosages of vitamins or minerals without proper knowledge can lead to serious health issues. It can lead to liver damage, neurological symptoms, especially with fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, and K. And many people really aren't aware of the appropriate dosages and unknowingly put themselves at risk. It can interact with medications, as I stated. Some supplements can interfere with medications that you're taking. So a great resource, one that I say is often underutilized, is a pharmacist, because they have the list of what you're taking and they can let you know if there's interactions that exist, and then you can follow up and have that conversation with your healthcare provider. They can mask underlying health issues. Some supplements might provide temporary relief, but they can also mask more serious issues like sleep disorders, delaying necessary medical care. And worse, some of those, like Advil PM sleeping pills, can create higher risk if you're unaware that you have a sleep breathing disorder that's present, because it interferes with your normal breathing patterns. They can have inconsistent quality and purity. Unlike prescription meds, supplements are less regulated, meaning quality can vary widely, and some might not even contain the stated ingredients or could be contaminated, leading to unwanted side effects. And you want to make sure that if you're taking supplements, that they are based on your individual needs. What works for one person might not work for another. Supplements need to be personalized, because taking the wrong dose can lead to nutrient imbalances, like too much zinc interfering with copper absorption. I also personally believe that they should be recommended under the care of a provider who can educate you and help you avoid any potential risks. I've always been a proponent of powders also over pills. I think they are a better option because, first, easier dose adjustments. Powders allow you to start with a small dose and gradually increase, reducing the risk of overdose and making it easier to find the right amount for your body, because everyone has a different sensitivity. Everyone metabolizes things differently. Everyone has different lifestyle choices, right? Whether you drink enough water during the day, how physically active you are, if you get enough sun, all of these things can affect how your body actually reacts to it. Better absorption. Powders generally have better bioavailability than pills, meaning your body can absorb and use the nutrients more effectively. They also tend to contain fewer fillers and binders. They provide flexibility in use. Powders can be mixed into drinks or smoothies, making them easier to consume, especially if you are someone who has trouble swallowing pills. You can always combine them to create a personalized blend. Taking it in powder form reduces digestive stress. Powders are gentler on the stomach since they don't require breaking down like pills do, which can reduce digestive discomfort. And they actually tend to be more cost effective because powders are often cheaper than pills, especially when you can adjust the dosage more precisely, leading to less overall use and cost savings. Now, that being said, I want to share some quick information about commonly used sleep supplements and some things you should know about each before deciding to take them or to continue your use of them. The first, of course, being melatonin, which is the most popular. And with this supplement, less is actually more. And I would recommend to get it from a provider rather than over the counter. But if you do decide to get it over the counter, I'd look for a time-release formula. And I'll make sure to drop the link for my episode below so that you can learn everything that you need to know about it, including how to boost it naturally without the need to take it. Melatonin helps regulate your sleep-wake cycle. So taking it close to bedtime can help signal to your body that it's time to sleep. The best time to take it is anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour and a half before bed, depending on your situation, which is, again, why it's best to use it under the guidance of a healthcare professional. Who could benefit from melatonin? Someone who has disrupted sleep patterns due to shift work. Those with jet lag traveling across different time zones. Those that have issues with delayed sleep phase syndrome. Or those that have issues with early waking or waking frequently during the night. But light therapy can also be a more effective tool for this. Some precautions just to know is that it's generally safe for short-term use, but prolonged use may interfere with your body's natural hormone production. It can lead to daytime drowsiness, so it can cause grogginess or sleepiness the next day if your dosage is too high or taken too late at night. It does have some interactions with things like blood thinners, immune suppressants, diabetes medications, and birth control pills. And in terms of health conditions, it's not recommended for people with autoimmune disorders or severe depression unless under medical supervision. The second is my absolute favorite, and the one that I recommend the most, is magnesium. And magnesium promotes relaxation and can help reduce muscle cramps and anxiety, making it ideal to take before sleep. There are many forms of magnesium that serve different purposes for your health, but I believe it's best to take it in a topical form as a spray. And at the Doze, it's our bestseller, and I'll drop a link for that as well with a special discount code for you. I'll also make sure to drop the link for the episode that I did to help you really understand what it is and what it does better than taking it in a pill form. But the people who could benefit the most from this are those that have issues with insomnia. You have difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep. Those with high anxiety or stress, particularly before bedtime. Those who suffer from frequent headaches or migraines. Those with chronic fatigue or low energy levels. Those with muscle cramps or spasms, particularly at night, or restless leg syndrome, those kind of creepy crawlies that you can get in your legs that can extend to your arms. And as I mentioned, I will drop the link for that magnesium episode so you can learn more about this amazing supplement for sleep. The third one is Valerian Root. Now, Valerian Root has calming effects that can help with anxiety and nervousness. So it can aid in helping you to fall asleep and to stay asleep. It's best to take it anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours before bedtime. You often find it in things like tea, which is better to take versus taking, in pill form, as I had stated. But something to know about this, some precautions. It can lead to daytime drowsiness. So especially the next day if taken in high dosages, especially if you're particularly sensitive. And it doesn't come without interactions. It enhances the sedative effects of alcohol, benzos, barbiturates, and other central nervous system depressants. Those who could benefit from Valerian Root. Those who have difficulty falling asleep due to anxiety or nervousness. Those who suffer from mild insomnia, particularly related to stress. Those who wake up frequently during the night. Those who feel jittery or overall stimulated in the evening, or those with mild mood disturbances or irritability that can affect sleep. And again, as I mentioned, they do put valerian root in a lot of different teas, and that would be the best way to kind of test it out and see how you react to it. The next is L-theanine. Now, it helps to reduce anxiety and stress and promotes relaxation without causing drowsiness, making it helpful both in the evening and before bed. It's best to take it, in the late afternoon or early evening, but it can also be taken closer to bedtime. Some precautions when it comes to it, it can lower blood pressure. So those with low blood pressure or who are on antihypertensive medications should monitor their levels closely. And some of the interactions, it can interact with stimulants, sedatives, and certain psychiatric medications. Those who could benefit from it are those with anxiety and stress that interferes with sleep, difficulty relaxing before bed, those with high levels of mental or physical stress during the day, those with trouble sleeping due to racing thoughts, like if you can't turn your brain off, right? Or those with poor focus or mental clarity, especially if linked to poor sleep. The next is CBD, which has become really popular over the last couple of years. Now, with it, it can help manage anxiety, stress, and pain, which can often be common sleep disruptors. Taking it a bit earlier in the evening can help ease these symptoms before bed. The best time to take it really depends because this can be taken in very different forms. So for instance, it's sold in tinctures. At one point, we had a product that was a sleep tincture that you would put underneath your tongue, and it was best rated. But you can also take it in gummy form. There's teas, different types of edibles. There's strips. There's a lot of different ways you consume this. So based on how you're consuming it is how it would be best suited to use it, dosage, so forth. So this is one that I definitely recommend that if you're using it for this purpose, you want to speak to a qualified provider. Some of the things that you want to look for are first quality control. Not all CBD products are created equal. Some may contain THC, or other contaminants, especially if not third-party tested. And they do interact with a wide variety of medications, including blood thinners, anti-seizure drugs, antidepressants, and can potentially lead to adverse effects. There has been quite a bit of research on this. And what we find is that those that could best benefit from it are those with anxiety or chronic stress impacting sleep quality, chronic pain or discomfort that interferes with sleep, inflammatory conditions that may disrupt sleep, so inflammation in the body. But we find that it's best suited for those with symptoms of PTSD or other anxiety disorders affecting sleep. So this is something that research shows is very beneficial for our veteran population. The next is 5-HTP. Now, this helps to increase serotonin levels, which are happy chemicals, which can improve mood and promote better sleep. So taking it before bed can help with falling asleep and staying asleep. The best time to take it is about 30 minutes before you go to bed. There are some, adverse effects to this, including things like nausea. It can cause gastrointestinal issues, including, vomiting and diarrhea. There are some interactions with antidepressants, migraine medications, and other drugs affecting serotonin levels. And those who could benefit from it are those with depression or low mood, particularly if it impacts their sleep, anxiety that interferes with sleep, and those with low energy or fatigue linked to mood disorders. And last is GABA, which helps to calm the nervous system, making it easier to wind down and to fall asleep after a stressful day. And the best time to take it is anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes before bedtime. Some precautions with this, there's limited evidence on the effectiveness of oral GABA supplements as it's unclear how much crosses the blood-brain barrier. And it can interact with medications for epilepsy, anxiety, and other neurological conditions. But it is best suited for those with high levels of stress or anxiety, especially in the evening, those with an overactive mind or racing thoughts at bedtime, those that have difficulty calming down after a busy day, those that have trouble falling asleep due to stress or overstimulation, and those with general feelings of restlessness or irritability. But one thing I want to note, because I did talk about both of these things, is that you don't need to take GABA and L-theanine together, as I often see people do, because they have similar effects. Both promote relaxation by enhancing GABA activity in the brain, so using them together can actually be redundant. This overlap doesn't provide extra benefits and might actually increase the risk of excessive drowsiness. So it's more effective and cost efficient to choose one based on your specific needs rather than doubling down on supplements that do the same thing. There are many other sleep supplements that I could talk about, for instance, things like ashwagandha. But as that leans more into stress and sleep, I'm going to leave that for another episode, another day. The ones that I've shared are the most common ingredients that you'll find in over-the-counter sleep supplements. The important thing to note is that all these supplements should ideally be used only after identifying the underlying causes of your symptoms, preferably with the guidance from a healthcare professional. This ensures that the supplement not only addresses the symptoms, but also supports your overall health and your sleep in a targeted manner. So last, I just want to touch base on the role of a sleep coach in helping you in making these decisions. A sleep coach can help you identify the root cause of your sleep issues and create a personalized plan to improve your sleep health. This might include guidance on the sleep hygiene, on stress management and behavioral changes. Unlike sleep supplements, which are often used as short-term fixes, working with a sleep coach can provide long-term solutions by addressing that underlying issue affecting your sleep. A coach can also help you track your progress and make adjustments as needed. If you've tried various sleep aids without success, or you're dealing with chronic sleep issues, it might be time to seek the help of one. They can offer tailored advice and support that goes beyond what supplements alone can provide. So that brings me to, what is the takeaway for today? Well, while supplements can be a useful tool when used correctly, they are not a one-size-fits-all solution. It's essential to understand when and how to use them, to be aware of the risks, and consider alternatives that promote natural sleep. And remember, you don't have to navigate this journey alone. A sleep coach can provide the expertise and support needed to restore your sleep health. If you're struggling with sleep and you want to explore a more holistic approach, consider reaching out to a sleep coach or checking out the resources and services we have at Start With Sleep or products we have at The Dose. Your journey to better sleep starts with understanding and action, and we're here to help you every step of the way. As always, thank you for listening. Until next time, I'm back every Wednesday with a new episode ready to empower you to take control of your sleep. If you've enjoyed what you heard, please subscribe to The Dose Podcast with a Z. I still have lots to share with you as we work together towards creating solutions around your unique sleep challenges and needs. Until then, remember your pure potential if you change how well you sleep.